Well, percenters, welcome back to 1424 basketball training, where the goal is to take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better. In today's video, Bol Bol traded to the Pistons. Nuggets signed DeMarcus Cousins. Let's see what happens. Just a quick reaction, see what's going on. We've been talking about free Bol Bol. Sounds like he's free now. What are these highlights of Bol Bol?
Under a month away, and that means that it is officially trade season. And it seems like a contending team in the Western Conference that currently isn't doing as well as they'd hope to be doing right now. The Denver Nuggets just made a pretty big trade that is probably going to frustrate Denver Nuggets.
Well, I just read Bol Bol was on an expiring contract, so it looks like he has half a season. The Nuggets have clearly given up on him, so why not trade him? It's just a matter of who they get back in return. I talk about investing and risk management all the time on this channel. Asymmetric risk. You want to bet a little, to win a lot in terms of stocks and investing and stuff like that. So Bol Bol, if he's on an expiring contract, doesn't cost much. He has a gigantic upside. Just whether or not you're willing to pay the risk for him. They get back Magruder or something like that.
Really excite the team that they made a trade with. Now, before we get to the content, we're giving away $500 to the subscriber that turns on their intro.
Come on.
The NBA draft, many NBA analysts and YouTubers alike were making content on how terrifying this human being could be at the game of basketball. I mean, the man was 7'2", had a 7'8" wingspan, weighed 220 pounds, and seemed to handle the ball like he was a guard. I mean, the idea of what Bol Bol could become was so terrifying, and he was drawing some comparisons to Giannis Antetokounmpo, not in the sense that he is definitely going to become Giannis Antetokounmpo, but in the sense that if someone was able to harness the raw talent that Bol Bol had, then they could eventually.
Does Bol Bol have the heart, the drive, the passion as a Giannis? That's the big question. The work ethic. Giannis, just look at his body, how his body has transformed over the years. Bol Bol, he's in his third season. Haven't seen much change.
Basketball player, and through it all, throughout his first 3 years in the NBA, we saw little glimpses of this ability. However, the Denver Nuggets wouldn't really give him a tremendous amount of playing time. Whatever he did, it was seen as a pretty crazy event. I mean, in his first season, to give you an idea, he's only played in 7 games. He averaged 12.4 minutes per game, an average 5.7 points per game, shot 44% from three, but he only attempted 1.3 3-pointers a game, grabbed almost 3 boards, and that was probably the best season he had in his entire career. Because the next 2 seasons, the Denver Nuggets would play him probably a total of 5 minutes per game in the times that he would actually see the court, and then there became a little bit of a controversy in regards to why aren't the Denver Nuggets starting Bol Bol? Why aren't they at least inserting Bol Bol into the rotation? You would imagine with the fact that Jamal Murray, DJ Dozier, and Michael Porter Jr. are out for the entire season, the Denver Nuggets would start looking deeper into their rotation to potentially develop some of their talented draft picks. And unfortunately, it seems like Michael Malone just wasn't really.
If he's been on the team for 3 years, what kind of weight program is he on? What kind of development program is he on? And tells you a lot, man. They've been there for 3 years and they're giving up on him. Huge upside, but it looks like they've already given up. So might as well get something back for him.
Ever interested in developing Bol Bol, which makes a lot of sense, man. When you're a contending team, you don't really have time to develop your star players. But every single time Bol Bol would actually see the court, he would do something that was fairly impressive. There's this one point that personally impressed me as a basketball fan where he did a pick and roll with Nikola Jokic, and I was just trying to imagine.
That's not that impressive.
If the Denver Nuggets were actually able to develop that a bit further, it would be terrifying for the rest of the NBA. But it seems like the Denver Nuggets are going to go in a different direction because recently they decided to sign DeMarcus Cousins on a 10-day.
Boogie! 10-day though.
DeMarcus Cousins, I'm actually thinking might get the second 10-day contract and possibly sign with the Denver Nuggets for the rest of the season because
like some people that I don't know. If you're on a kind of up and coming team, it's a great chance to take up Bol Bol. But if you're kind of in between, like I think where Denver's at right now, they have to take a more calculated risk on who they sign and stuff like that. So DeMarcus Cousins 10-day, why not?
Very productive stint.
If he can play remotely decent defense, his offense should be just fine in that bully spot or the dunker spot
with the Milwaukee Bucks. And in my opinion, although he's not even close to the player that he once was, I think for the role that he fills as a very high-end backup, he does a great job filling that role. He doesn't need much development. You know what you're getting in him. And sometimes he might surprise you and turn back the clock to show you what he once was. So it seems like the Denver Nuggets are going to sign.
It'd be a good mix-up because I think DeMarcus Cousins, it doesn't really matter too much what he does on the court, but if he does stick around, he can bully the crap out of Jokic, and they can have some battles down low, and that I think is actually where more of the value is if you get DeMarcus Cousins and Jokic battling out, because he's I would say formidable in terms of strength.
DeMarcus Cousins, and we're going to see whether or not they're going to pursue that a little bit longer. But
they're probably about the same speed as well.
Potentially developing BOL BOL. Because according to Adrian Wojnarowski, the Detroit Pistons are finalizing a deal to acquire Denver Nuggets forward BOL BOL for Rodney Magruder and a future second-round pick. Sources tell ESPN. Now, in this deal, the Denver Nuggets are actually acquiring a 2022 second-round pick via Brooklyn and Bulls deal. Detroit will offer BOL BOL a chance to play a more significant role. The Pistons continue to take swings at young developing players in their rebuild. So I know what Nuggets fans
it's great for the Pistons
might be thinking, like, why would the Denver Nuggets do this? There are times
no idea who Magruder is.
Organizations just do right by players. And in this instance, I'm assuming the Denver Nuggets looked at BOL BOL and said, hey, look, we've had you for 3 years. We clearly would like to develop you, but it's not at the forefront of.
He doesn't want to be there anyway. So great job by the Nuggets to get at least something and a pick.
Our minds right now, because we actually have a squad that can contend when we're fully healthy and pretty much trade you for, no offense to Rodney Magruder, but essentially nothing. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Rodney Magruder at all whatsoever, but he pretty much has been contributing the same amount as BOL BOL has, but he's significantly older and has a significantly lower ceiling because, of course, he's 30 years old. This is just doing right by a basketball player.
Magruder's 30 years old, so it sounds like he's a veteran.
I think it's very respectable by the Denver Nuggets to do this because I would really like to see what becomes of BOL BOL's career. But in this instance, I feel like the Detroit Pistons are like the perfect place for BOL BOL to go play. They're still a young, up-and-coming team. They Cade Cunningham.
Nobody cares about the Pistons. That's why.
Figuring it out and has shown flashes for us so far in his rookie season. They have Jeremy Grant, but they are trying to trade Jeremy Grant.
That's where you go to die. The Pistons. Oh my God, Blake Griffin got sent to die. Cade Cunningham. I haven't heard a single thing out of the #1 draft pick. Oh, the Pistons.
It's also having to do with the fact that they have an idea that some team might potentially sign BOL BOL to a contract that they wouldn't be able to match, or the Denver Nuggets would probably release his rights after next season. So there's no point in keeping him on the roster anymore. Now the Detroit Pistons, who I give an A+ for this trade, I think it is a no-brainer if you have an opportunity to make a trade like this, have a remarkable opportunity to grab a player that fits the same developmental timeline as Saddiq Bey and Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes and all the other young players that they recently drafted on their roster. It also gives them someone that they could play for an extended period of time once they successfully trade Jeremy Grant, which is what they are trying to do currently. I can't wait to see
get Jeremy Grant back on the Nuggets.
What Cade Cunningham and BOL BOL can do together, because I feel like if BOL BOL was to play extended minutes, he would actually be able to impress a lot of us if given the proper opportunity. He's done some very unique things for a player that is 7'2", and I'm glad that he is actually going to become a focal point for a franchise to continue to develop him. For the Denver Nuggets, I really can't give a grade in this instance, not because they did so poorly in deciding to trade BOL BOL, but it's really one of those situations where you're not really playing the player. He clearly has a tremendous amount of potential. You're probably not going to re-sign him once he becomes a free agent, so you might as well trade him to a young developing team and I suppose recoup a second-round draft pick. I understand players like
dude, that's a huge thing. Your player's not going to re-sign with you. They don't want to play for you. The coach don't like him. If you get anything, I think it's a gigantic A+. They're getting a veteran guy. Maybe he'll be a guard to back up or spot minutes, and they get a future pick for nothing, essentially nothing, because they don't want this guy and that guy don't want to be on the team. That's an A+.
BOL BOL are like the best case scenario once you get a second round pick. But in this instance, the Denver Nuggets didn't have time to develop BOL BOL, who is an extremely raw.
They had plenty of time to develop him.
Prospect with a really high ceiling. Once they are already in contention with players like Nikola Jokic, waiting for Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. to come back, they clearly made their intentions known once they went out and signed DeMarcus Cousins, another player that is already fully developed, in order to potentially get ready for a playoff run. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this trade. I'm personally really excited to see Cade Cunningham and BOL BOL play together. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
I'm excited to never see the Pistons. Maybe BOL BOL will get some highlights, and then we'll wonder what he's doing with all the potential. If he got dropped from a bunch of teams in high school, he went through 4 different coaches, and no one vouches for him. He's running out of opportunities, like I said in a previous video. I'm excited to see what DeMarcus Cousins and Jokic can do. And like I said, I think more of the value comes from him banging him around in practice, and a legitimate 7-footer, big dude, strong, aggressive, really mean type player can do with Jokic in practice. All right, guys, until next time, take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better.